Welcome along to this video which we're calling Stop! Don't buy any property education until you've watched this. Now, I'm joined by Mark from Property Tribes Financial Services, and here at Property Tribes we're all big fans of education because the more you learn, the more you earn. But Mark, we're increasingly hearing of people that have paid huge amounts of money to go on to property education courses, and then it turns out they can't get the finance.
Absolutely. It's something that we are seeing more and more often now. Education is fantastic. There are some fantastic groups, forums, schemes and people that will give you lots of information and teach you lots of things, but what you don't want to do is commit to something before you know you're going to be able to borrow. I've likened it a bit to somebody perhaps who's learning to drive. You don't go out and buy your very first brand new car until you know that you're going to be able to drive, until you've passed your test. And that's a bit like coming to us really, so to get an idea of whether you're going to be able to borrow, because it's no good going and seeing a great presentation about HMOs, how wonderful HMOs are, that's really the way forward, that's where you're going to make your money, if when you come to speak to someone and speak to lenders, speak to brokers, you find out you can't actually borrow for an HMO. You don't qualify. Your income isn't sufficient. There are so many things that you need to have in place. So before you go on that course, getting it right and knowing that you can borrow makes a lot of sense for me.
Well, absolutely, because mortgage lending is very personal to the individual, and everybody has different circumstances, and they need to be fit with the right lenders for them. And I think it has actually an added advantage to speak to a broker first, because when you start out in property it can be completely overwhelming and you don't know which direction to go in. But if you actually speak to a broker first, they might identify for you that you actually only qualify for single occupancy buy-to-let finance.
Absolutely.
And then you know that that's your direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to go on 10 courses if you can just go on one. The problem is with a room full of people, you're all there for the same reason. You're all there because you want to get on in property. You want to make some money, you want to start your property journey, but everybody in that room has got a slightly different something about them. It's a bit like an egg, I suppose. Somebody says to you, do you want an egg? It doesn't really happen. Nobody says, do you want an egg? Everybody says, do you want a fried egg? Do you want a boiled egg? Do you want a scrambled egg? It's for us to sort of dial down and find out whether you can actually get the right sort of thing. It's no good somebody standing up there and saying, look, everything is available, everything might not be available. Let's try and find out whether for you it's scrambled eggs that you should be going for, boiled eggs that you should be going for, that sort of thing. So be a bit more specific. Everybody on the outside all looks exactly the same, but when you drill down, have that conversation about what's right for an individual, let's find out exactly what is right for you. And it may well be that in time you may be able to go for HMOs, for example. But it may be that you start at single lets and you work your way up to that. And working with somebody like ourselves will help you on that journey. Will help you start at the right place for you. And as times change, as your circumstances change, we can help you sort of get to that
next
ultimate goal, that next level. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a very good analogy you've made, because on the forums we see testimonials from somebody that says, I've bought 10 houses in 1 year after doing this course, but what they don't actually say is how much money they had to start with. Because if they've got £1 million inheritance, then actually it's not going to be too hard to do that. So again, we have to stress that your starting funds, the amount you've got for deposits will have a huge influence on what you can actually do.
Absolutely. I've met people, I've been on some of these courses. I sat in one particular course with a guy that said, I started my property journey with nothing, and I now have £1 million worth of property in 18 months. And there's a hush across the room and people take notes. Now I know, yes, he did start with nothing, but I also know that he then got £950,000 from his mother, and then in 18 months built a portfolio of £1 million. So really we're talking £50,000 in 18 months, which is a completely different story to I started with nothing. And
Absolutely.
And here I am.
Yeah.
You know, property is it's not an easy journey. There's not a quick way around it. There isn't shortcuts.
There's none of that magic fairy dust.
No, there isn't. No, there is absolutely nothing like that. You know, it's about learning your trade to a degree. You're not gonna make millions overnight. And I think the sooner you realise that, the sooner you realise that there is a right way of going about things, put those processes in place, do it all in the right order, you will be successful. You'll never have to look over your shoulder and worry that what you're doing might not be right, that lenders might not like this, and you know, just the way that you're doing it might not be right. You will know that right from the beginning that whatever you do is going to be the right thing, and when you come to the end and reach your goals, you know, you'll be very satisfied that you've done it in the right way.
Well, that actually takes me on to my final question, Mark, which is really finding the right product for what you're trying to do. Because for instance, some of these courses will say, oh, get a buy-to-let mortgage and do a refurbishment.
Yeah.
But if you're in property for the long term, you must have the right product for what you're doing, because if the lenders find out that you've misused a product, that could ultimately mean you being barred from lending.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's boom, your property career's down the drain.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Again, speaking to a reputable and qualified broker will make sure that you use the right products for the job.
Yeah, I mean, you can use any paint you like in your bathroom, absolutely any paint you like in your bathroom, any paint you like in your kitchen, and if you buy cheap paint, you can use it. But the problem is, after a while, with the water in the bathroom or the heat in the kitchen, it'll all start to come off. So at the end of the day, yes, you can use certain products for things, and they might not quite fit, but it's not going to be a long-term fix. And if you've got to keep going back and sort of repairing what you've done, there will come a time where a lender will turn around and say, look, hang on a minute, you've done that there, you've done that there. Lenders talk to each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long for them to work out, and suddenly you thinking that you're being clever, that you've been able to do things a little bit quicker because you've slightly changed the product for your own ends, it will not work long term. It absolutely will not work long term. And we meet people that we talk about transactions to lenders. The lenders already know what that transaction is. So we will start communicating certain parts of a deal, and they'll say, is it a property in? Is it this? Is it this 4-bed house that's being this? Is it that? They know already, and as soon as they know that, that's it. You are going to struggle, and if you can't deal with mainstream lenders, if you've got to deal with people that sit outside of that norm, you will always pay more money.
Yep.
It will always take longer, and you will always have a problem. And it's, you know, if you're getting into property, you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure you stay doing it for the right reasons.
Play it with a straight bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
So I hope you found this chat useful, and the overriding message is that before you spend money on expensive courses, seminars, education, mentorships, go and see a reputable mortgage broker and make sure that you're going to be able to access financial products, unless of course you're in the happy situation of being able to buy with cash.
Yeah, of course.
But for the majority of people, they want to use finance and they want to leverage up, so they must make sure that they have access to the products that they need to achieve their goals.
Absolutely.
So thanks very much for joining me in this chat.
No
Mark.
problem. Thank you.